Good afternoon, Professor and classmates. I'm gonna show you the research proposal. Okay, my topic is the effectiveness of communicative language teaching tasks to foster speaking skill in B1 level students. My name is Mayra Ceballos, and I'm gonna present the content that I have. First of all, we have the introduction, number 2, the chapter number 1, number 3, chapter number 2, chapter number 3, conclusions and recommendations, but I'm gonna focus on the introduction and chapter number 1. Let's go on. First of all, I have the introduction. We're going to focus on the statement of the problem. In this case, according to my topic, we are going to focus on the research project, which addresses the concern that traditional teaching centered in B1 level students have some problems, and we're going to identify them. According to the effectiveness to communication, we are going to identify that here we have the lack of interaction that has been a problem, and also the limited opportunities for meaningful conversation. It depends on the class, obviously, and in my case, I have 23 students who are going to be evaluated, and we have identified that students have some problems because of the number of the students. Maybe they have the lack of the chance to make a speaking part. And also the teacher concerns. Okay, according to the research contents, we're going to identify which are the community members. In this case, we have the learners that I said before, 23 students who are going to be tested from Academia Militar del Valle, high school, and also the educators, the teachers who are going to be involved in the communicative language teaching, and also the researchers. And in this case, we're going to have the UV teachers. Let's go on with the delimitation of population, sample and sampling. The population from Academia Militar del Valle, which is located in Conocoto in Quito, consists from 922 students. However, I'm going to evaluate just 23 students. According to Canton, we are going to notice that the population means the elements which are going to be shared according to some characteristics, according to the investigation. As I said before, the students who are going to be evaluated are 23, which are involved from 11 women, 12 men, which are 100% of the students. We're going to talk about the general research objective. In this case, I'm going to investigate the effectiveness to interactive and collaborative teaching method, which involves the students speaking in 10 graders. The specific objectives that we're going to see, first of all, I'm gonna evaluate the impact of interactive communication activities on students' fluency and confidence in speaking skill. And also, I'm gonna assess the effectiveness of collaborative learning strategies, enhancing the students' ability to engage the meaningful in a real life or in a real context conversation. Going on with the conceptual and operational categories, we're going to notice that we have the independent variable and dependent variable. And independent variable, I have identified the communicative language teaching, which is going to be focused on the enhanced learning ability to use language for a real life context, using interactive activities like maybe role playing, that is one of the most common. The dependent variable, we have the speaking skill, which prioritize the meaning of the real world relevance acquired from the students in order to interact and achieve the specific goals. That means the oral fluency, which is going to be evaluated. The dependent variable and in the dependent variable, first of all, we're going to focus on some experts sets. In this case, we have the communicative language teaching. According to Richards in 2006, he considers that the learner's ability is to use the language effectively in a real context through using many activities or interactive and authentic activities so that students can foster the speaking language. Another, in the dependent variable, we have a speaking skill. According to Tokyo, highlights that the speaking skill encompasses pronunciation, intonation, vocabulary, grammar, and discourse organization that must be developed through an interaction with many communicative activities. The main category identified in this study is the dependent variable. We have some, according to the dimensions and also indicators, we are going to notice that we have some context, for example, the learning process, the learning ability, the real-life communication, and the role play. And also the dependent variable, we have the ability to communicate orally, fostering in communication, interactive communication as well. And the study is grounded in communicative language teaching, which focus on the meaning of communication in a real life context. According to the quantitative data, we have noticed that measured changes in B1 level students speaking proficiently through pre-test and post-test using standardizing speaking tests and task-specific assessment. We have to be clear in this part because the quantitative data we're going to get from instruments, and it's going to be focused on the B1 level international examinations, and it has some parts. For example, here we have a pre-test, a post-test, so that we can get the real results. We are going to focus on the parts of the speaking qualification. The quantitative data gather insights on the implementation of the effectiveness communicative language teaching task through classroom observations, interviews, and focus group discussion with the students and teachers as well. As I said before, the research approach and methods we are going to use here, we have the pre-test and post-test, and we have also a structured questionnaire. We have a classroom observation, semi-structured interviews, and focus group discussions. And the research questions are very important so that we can get a result, and we can also find out some solutions for that. For example, number one, we have how do communicative language teaching tasks contribute to the accuracy of linguistic form, and in this case we have to evaluate grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and syntax in a spoken interaction with the students from Academia Militar del Valle. We have to be clear here that this question will help us to identify the problem and also to get some solutions for this question. The number two, we have how effective are communicative teaching tasks in enriching and explaining the vocabulary of B1 level students, including measure of lexical diversity, sophistication, and appropriateness in oral speaking. I'm going to clarify here in this part that it's not only the students are going to be evaluated with the instrument, but also here we can also help the students to reinforce the speaking part or the speaking evaluations, because we have different kinds of assessments. In this case, in order to get a solution from a problem that we have identified in the students, we can use some apps so that they can practice and improve or foster the oral speaking. In number 3, how do communicative language teaching facilitate the use of interaction strategies such as clarification, requests, negotiation of meaning, and turn talking in B1 level students' spoken interaction? And here we are going to find some activities that I said before. We can use some apps so that the students can also practice the oral speaking so that they get the B1 level. And here we have the reference that are very important, which were used in this job. Thank you so much.